Your ideas are not special. Yeah, that idea you have is probably given to 1,000 more people. Everybody gets ideas. Ideas are not nothing. There's nothing unique about ideas. I think one of the things I used to lie to myself about is that an idea I had was really special. You know, it was all about that. It was probably just me that had that idea. Nobody has ever had that idea. I'll be in my head just thinking about how crazy this idea is and how is it that nobody has done it. I just keep thinking to myself how special this idea is, and then before you know it, years have passed. I mean, it first start from weeks and then months and then years, a couple more years, and I've not worked on this idea, and I keep thinking one day I'm going to work on this idea, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be the first time somebody ever did it. And then eventually I meet somebody else and I talk about the same idea, and they're like, I've thought about the same thing and I'm hoping to work on it soon. Or the person's like, I'm working on it right now. And then you'd be like, oh shit, like, how did you get that idea? Did you get into my head? There was always that thoughts that this idea I had was really special, and it was just me. But lately, after experiencing so much of watching other people have the same ideas as me, there was even one time I went on YouTube. I had this idea for YouTube, and I went on YouTube and I saw somebody already did it exactly the same way, and I'm like, shit, I thought I was the only one that had this idea. But then lately I've realized that a lot of people get ideas. In fact, the way I put it is that when God shares ideas, he probably shares one idea to like 1,000 people and just waits for who does it, and just waits for how everybody goes about it. Tries to. I feel like God is like, I wouldn't say playing games with us, but it's like playing fair. He doesn't give an idea to one person. He gives the ideas like 1,000 people, and then he wants to just see how we all go about it. One person will probably not go about it at all. Let's say out of the 1,000 people, 50% of them will not work on that idea at all. It's usually more than 50%, but let's just say 50%. I'm actually part of the 50% for a lot of ideas I've had. And then the other 50%, 25% will go about it a certain way, and it doesn't work out, and they just quit. Another 10% go about it in two more ways, and it doesn't work, and then they quit. And then there is around 1% of the whole group. 1% of 1,000 is like 10 people. Yeah. About 10 people go up, finally get to go through this idea from the beginning to the end, and they actually see how it goes to the end. But what happens is that these 10 different people go about the same idea 10 different ways, and then the world is blessed with one idea in 10 different ways. But the funny thing is, when people see this idea, they probably see it as 10 ideas because of how these people went about it. So what does this tell you? It tells us that ideas are everywhere. Everybody gets ideas. I get ideas, you get ideas. Everybody gets ideas. Like your friends, they get the same ideas. Some people, the only difference is that sometimes the ideas that you have might not, nobody within your proximity has it, but just take a few more steps outside your proximity and you might just find somebody who has the same idea. But the only thing that sets anyone apart is execution. How do you go about it? You just imagine, let's try to visualize it, that God calls 10 of you together and just gives you one idea and says, go about, like, I want to see how you will go about it. You will realize that the speciality is not in the idea, but how you go about it. It will help you stop thinking that this idea is special, because then you have seen it in front of you that this idea was given to 10 people. Now you know that all that will make this idea different is how you go about it. Now, how would you go about it? That's what changes the whole, the whole game. So start thinking like that about ideas. Any idea you get, execution is what's important. It's not the idea. The ideas will come and go. How you execute it is what. A lot of times I look at some of the videos I've done in the past and I'm like, shit, this idea was crazy when I thought about it. It was crazy. But how I went about it was below par, And then I see somebody else, somebody else's video on the same idea and I'm like, oh, this is good. And sometimes all it would have took for me to get to that level, all it would have taken for me to get to that level would have just been, you know, working extra hard, like just putting in more effort. Sometimes some of my worst works were because I did not put in the effort. And I'm not saying this because I self-sabotage or anything. No, I'm not the most confident person, but I'm also not someone to self-sabotage like a lot. So a lot of times I look at what I've done and I know why it's not that good. And sometimes, yes, we are in the age of social media where even mediocre stuff works out on, you know, online, and, you know, things that are not that good also work out. Things that are very good also don't work out sometimes. So there's never that fairness in terms of what works out and what doesn't work out. Sometimes there's clearly a part of, you know, what works on social media, and sometimes it's not always the best things in reality that work on social media. Sometimes it can be something else. So a lot of the ideas I've worked on, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, okay, this could have been better if I had just put in more, if I just put in more effort. And then some other idea, I'm like, okay, I did my best, but this just did not work out, you know. So sometimes you need to give, you know, when you get an idea, stop whining in the specialness, like saying, oh, it's special. Stop whining in that. Stop wallowing in that. I mean, leave that stage of, you know, feeling the idea, liking the idea and all that stuff. Leave that stage. The sooner you leave that stage into execution phase, the more the chances that this idea will actually be as iconic as it sounded in your head, you know, because the more time you spend without executing this idea is the lesser the chances that this idea will actually see the light of the day, from you at least, because it will probably see the light of the day from somebody else. So stop thinking about how special your ideas are. Start working on the ideas in a very special way. Give it your special touch. Give it your special. Anytime you think of an idea, just think about the fact that there's probably 999 other people that have the same idea right now. Like, it came to you and 999 others at the same time. All you have to do is work on it in a way that the 999 will not be able to, or work on it in a way that distinguishes you. Even though you don't know the 999, work on it to your best. Because when you do it to your best, it distinguishes you automatically, because there's no two people that are the same. So when you're able to work on it to your best 100%, nobody will be able to do it 100% as you, because you gave it your best. You didn't try to copy somebody else. You didn't try to, you know, imagine too much about how it will cater for everybody. You just did it your own best way possible. Once you can do it that way, chances are it's going to be so good. Sometimes it might not work out, but it's going to be so good, and at least you gave it your best. So stop thinking about those ideas and start working on them. They are not special until you start working on them. Thank you so much. I hope this video made you feel good about, you know, your ideas and not made you feel terrible. And I hope you start working on those ideas, because your idea is everybody's idea until you make it your idea. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.